Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Today we're doing Batman R.I.P. This, by the way, is a fan submission.
Nice.
Go watch our letters page show, and you'll see who gave it to us. I'm sorry, I don't remember you. But, thank you. You know who you are. And you can
we're probably going to find out in the comments.
Yes, and that'll be great. And I love it that happens. But this is how it works, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is Batman R.I.P., written by Grant Morrison.
Oh no.
With art by Tony S. Daniel.
Is it-
gorgeous art.
Is it overly convoluted and
What?
like symbolic and shit?
Sounds like you are familiar with Grant Morrison's work. That's good to know.
Is there anything that Daniel's done?
That you would know?
That we know?
No.
Okay.
And it's awesome. He's great.
Where'd they get him? Where did they
I mean,
get these
he's-
random artists?
Well, he's drawn stuff, just not stuff
Oh.
that we have covered on the show.
Okay.
When did this come out? I've never heard of
This came out right before Final Crisis. So, like,
Okay.
2009? I don't remember when Final Crisis came
And what was going on with Batman at that
out. At this
time?
point, Batman had...
This was before he went back in time?
Yeah, it was right before.
Okay.
And there were rumors that Batman was going to die in Final Crisis.
Okay.
So, like...
And they're like, no, he has to die in his first.
Yeah, and Grant Morrison's like, oh, no, you don't. But it's funny, he actually wrote Final Crisis, too.
Right.
So everyone's like, oh, shit. Because Grant Morrison had been writing Batman, and he was writing Final Crisis, you know, people assumed that Batman R.I.P. was going to be like the prelude to Final Crisis, or was going to blend with Final Crisis.
Right.
And because he always, like, laid the groundwork for this shit anyway, they were expecting some ridiculous, you know, bombshell. They got it.
Right.
It was ridiculous. And, you know, he promised in a 2008 interview at New York Comic Con, of all places, that it was going to, like, blow the Batverse wide open. It doesn't, but it's still pretty cool of a story.
Wait, what is blowing the Batverse wide open even supposed to mean?
Well, it means, like, it's like saying it's going to crack the internet in half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Or break the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna freak out.
I'm going to shatter your dreams. I'm going to kill some leprechauns. Like, what? These are intangible things that can't possibly be done. Similarly, so it means that, you know, there's going to be revelations, and it's going to, like, change everything you ever knew about
A
Batman.
new status quo.
Yeah. There isn't one.
Okay.
And so the context for this is Batman had just gone through a crazy ordeal where he almost died. And
Isn't that every fight?
Oh yeah. Oh, every
All the
book of
major
Batman.
ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
any Batman story worth their salt, Batman almost dies, but then ultimately succeeds. In this story, Batman is nailing a chick named Jezebel Jet. Grant Morrison's already...
Wait, this was written in 2009? Because that sounds like an 80s or a 90s name.
I know, no, and it's deliberate because it's alliterative.
She knows he's Batman?
She knows he's Batman in Batman R.I.P. He met her at some, you know, where you meet rich people, and because at the behest of Alfred's like, you have to play up the Playboy thing. You haven't done that in a long time, so go be a Playboy. Go bang models.
Late in years.
Yes, go bang some vacuous models. They'll put out. And Batman, of course, goes and he meets Jezebel Jet, and she's an African, wealthy, political person. Like, she's in charge of some shit. I mean, mostly, like, you know, organizations that are philanthropic and whatnot.
Okay.
And he meets her there, and he is like, okay, you. She's like, get away from me. I know your reputation. And he's
Oh.
like, oh, she said no. Because, you know, as you do. And
Yeah.
he pursues her. He ultimately goes out on, like, annoying one-percenter dates. Like, they go hang gliding and skiing, and
Yep.
he, like, actually winds up seeing the bat signal at one point. He has to, like, ditch their date, and, you know, so forth. And at one point, he actually gets, like, attacked, and he almost dies. That's the story where he almost dies. And he, like, not this, but the story I'm explaining. And he almost dies, and ultimately, she pretty much figures out he's Batman. Like, because he's sloppy and whatever, she figures out he's Batman, and he's like, great! You know, this is gonna work out fine.
Shit!
Yeah. So,
Great! Oh, damn it.
So, he invites her to, like, stay there. She doesn't live there. She actually has her own, like, $1 million place.
Right.
Whatever. But, like, at the point of Batman R.I.P., like, they're together. And, remember Identity Crisis? When, like, the superhero at the end, like, the superheroes leave.
Yeah.
Like, they go on, like, sabbatical, and Batman and the Robins go on, like, a little trek.
Yeah.
Batman comes back, and he has a better relationship with the Robins, and Tim Drake is the main Robin at this point, except Damian Wayne has been introduced by this point as well. Mm-hmm. His bastard son from Talia al Ghul, which is, of course, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, and his beloved, the one who's always trying to get him.
Right.
To give her a child, and then he finally does, in, like, an old story from the 70s called Son of the Demon. And, that was when I was going to jump into Batman at that point, because, like, Grant Morrison and Andy Kubert were drawing it, and I was like, and it was a new #1, and I'm like, cool. And I like the premise of, like, a more well-adjusted Batman.
You mean
like,
a not office rocker Batman?
Well, and a not dick Batman. Like, a not a surveillance satellite that kills people Batman. So,
also not a Batman that has to impress little 12-year-old boys to make him...
That's a different continuity, but yes, also not that Batman. Not a Batman that would ever dare call a 12-year-old boy retarded. So, but I picked it up, and I was like, this is interesting. It's got Man-Bat in it. And I was like, cool, an old Man-Bat story. And, yeah, and it's ridiculous. And the last page reveal of the first issue was Talia with Damian. She's like, this is your son. And I'm like, no. I don't want to read a book about Batman having a kid later. And I was right to do it, because Damian's annoying. And we had just established that Tim Drake, the third Robin, was, after having his father assassinated by Boomerang in Identity Crisis, which we did on back issues, Bruce officially adopts him.
Oh.
And, like, he winds up, curiously enough, taking his name, so it's like Tim Wayne, which is weird. But whatever. And so he becomes, like, Batman's son, like, legitimately.
Primary Robin.
Yeah, well, he's always been primary.
Got to choose, not the one that he was stuck with.
Right, exactly. Well, it was pre-Damian.
Oh.
That was the thing. Like, he had finally, like, has a son. And it's an adopted son, which makes sense within the Batman thing. And it also kind of changes the status quo, because he never really adopted Dick Grayson or Jason Todd, but he adopted Tim. And then we introduce his actual son. And they clash, and ultimately, like, Tim stops being Robin. And it's like, it just goes, get him out of here. And, like,
does Batman act like that? Like,
you
really just need to go.
I mean, like, no.
I have a real boy now.
Yeah, well, no, but the story does that enough. Like, we don't even need Batman to do that, because circumstances and narrative already make Tim unwelcome.
So you don't have to be mad at Batman.
Right. You can just be pissed at Grant Morrison for creating Damian Wayne.
Right.
So, at this point, Damian's around, but Talia is, like, picking him up every so often. It's like Batman's got partial custody of him.
Oh, jeez.
And...
Well, isn't she a criminal?
Oh, yeah. But she's also, like, a billionaire, and, you know, she's Ra's al Ghul's daughter, so she has, like, the ability to...
She shows up in her car, and like, beep,
oh, she shows she shows up in the Batcave, like, ha-ha! He's here later! Poof!
It's the weekend, Batman!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's Friday! Oh, crap! Poof, Damian.
Batman's got a little, like, just a watch that beeps every once in a while.
Oh, no! Poof!
Shit.
I've been awake for 4 straight days. So, forgivably, Damian's not in this fucking story.
Oh.
So, we established that Batman is banging Jezebel Jet.
But has Tim Drake now come back around and, like, he's being accepted again?
Tim Drake is still Robin. They haven't really kicked him out yet. He hasn't become Red Robin yet.
Okay.
Young. And in this, we have Batman and Robin in, like, a new Batmobile, and they're cruising around Gotham. And it's interesting because in this world, in this continuity right now, superhuman crime has gone down. And so it's kind of quiet in Gotham. And so Batman and Robin are kind of tooling around in a new Batmobile, and they're kicking the shit out of wannabe supervillains who are like, I'm the fat idiot who got Fright Mask, and now I'm a villain. And Batman's like, punched. He's like, oh god, why did you punch me? Okay, I'll go to jail. And Batman's like, whoo, all in a day's work, eh, old chum? And they go home. And it's actually one of the... Grant Morrison's perfect at giving me things I never thought I'd ever see in a Batman book. Mm-hmm. One of them is, so Batman and Robin kick the shit out of some regular guy, and then they come home to Wayne Manor. Batman, just makes a beeline for like the main staircase. He's just going for it, and Robin and Alfred are chatting it up. And Batman's like ripping off his cape and his gloves, and he's just he gets into his bedroom, and Jezebel's there, she's like, Bruce, and then they just bang. And you're like, I've never seen Batman just go like, I gotta get home! Quick!
Well, yeah, he's never had someone like that waiting.
No, exactly. It's like Batman's getting regular sex, and he's like all of a sudden dressing like a bat and fighting idiots in costumes.
It was that whole idea that Batman had never had sex.
Yep, this is
just
true.
like, Alfred, you know what this is like?
Yeah,
I'm never gonna be Batman again.
Exactly. I'm sorry for everything. Cave in the cave. Fucking sell the Batmobile.
Have Tim killed. I don't
Yeah,
care.
exactly. Get him out of here.
I can't have any connections. I'm getting laid regularly.
Exactly. That's right. I'm getting
By a woman whose name is Jezebel.
Yes. Well, and that is Grant Morrison's way of saying, like, comics, everybody, like Lois Lane and Lex Luthor and Matt Murdock and Peter Parker and Jezebel Jet. Like, it's an old school name for an old school type dalliance for Batman. Like, oh, Batman is with this exotic heiress, and she is like every bro's worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Because
She's a player?
No, he shows her the Batcave, and he's like, look at all my cool toys!
Right.
And she's like, imagine all the lives you would save, or all the third world countries you could pull out of poverty if you didn't want to be Batman.
And he's like,
If you didn't want a giant robot dinosaur. And he's like,
well, look.
Hey, that was a gift.
I got this dinosaur.
that was a gift, you bitch! That was a gift from the Bat family.
Look at that giant penny. Well, I stole that.
No, that was a gift as well. But,
That was a gift?
yeah, from a bank.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a
I thought
part
you
of
took
a
that from
robbery.
Two-Face.
No,
A giant penny?
no, he crushed Two-Face with it, and then the bank let him keep it.
Oh, so it did involve Two-Face.
Yes, of
Well,
course.
it's a giant coin! Come
Well,
on!
It's a penny, though. Is that what Two-Face uses?
No,
Does
he
it
uses
matter?
a quarter. Or a silver dollar, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically she's just like, boy, being Batman sure is dumb. Like, you should not be Batman anymore. Because
Awfully
being
childish.
Yeah,
Batman.
it is rather. I mean, like you just never went to therapy, and so now you dress like a bat and spend billions of dollars when you could be using it to be responsible.
You spend billions of dollars to punch people.
Right, and he's like, "Fuck you." Like but with that same
But
trepidation
like,
that I gave.
But actually,
No, he's like, you don't get it. It's like she's saying, it's like Batman's another person. It's like his old friend from college, and she's like, you've outgrown Steve. Like, you shouldn't be hanging out with Steve anymore. And he's like, you don't get it. Steve and I have a special relationship that transcends what you understand maturity to be. Steve might be bad for me and take me out on crazy benders, and I come home bruised, and I don't know where I was half the time. But trust me when I tell you that Steve is good for me. Mm-hmm. And she's like, and maybe you should start wearing button-ups, and you should call your mother more, and maybe we've been dating for over a year or two, and I'm not getting any young. Like,
and then
we're getting that.
and then suddenly it's like brunch on Sundays and shit. You're like, come on.
And it's like bed by 10:30.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're meant to hate Jezebel Jet,
Yeah.
or if it's a harbinger. You're supposed to be like, something not right about her. She doesn't want my character to be Batman.
Right. It's weird that to her, like, the cave, she's like, oh no, you have a cave with all this stuff. Like,
No, being
he's
Batman was
fucking
cool.
Batman.
Yeah, you should have known that from
he
the...
dresses up like another animal, kind of.
Yeah,
and
not
fights
really.
crime
Yeah.
against people who should have killed him numerous times over. He just
yeah.
keeps doing it. Like, he used his fortune to build impossible gadgets. He has a car called the Batmobile.
Yep.
But
The police
a
department.
cave
Yeah.
with gadgets and stuff that people gave you for being a hero.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
It's weird that she chooses... It's weird because, like, she's clearly okay with him being Batman because she's banging him in the Bat costume.
Yeah.
And then he takes her into the cave and she's like, hold up.
Wait a minute, you're crazy.
Right. And she basically is saying, like, you're crazy, you need to get help.
But
Right.
at the same time, doesn't he counter with the fact that, like, look at the Wayne organization and all the charities that I've donated to and everything I've put back into Gotham City?
No.
He could have done more.
That
That
would've-
would have wasted all your time and money on Batman.
That's right.
There's
No,
billions of
no,
dollars
I couldn't.
in tech in
Because
this
if I
game.
didn't
Yeah.
invest those billions of dollars into this cave, I would be dead.
Yeah.
And then my money wouldn't go anywhere.
Well, he could stop being Batman.
Right.
He wouldn't be dead.
Well, that's impossible.
No.
Gotham
And
gets him.
that's his point. His point is just that. He's like,
Yeah.
all that is bullshit. The reality is I'm fucking Batman. She's like, no, you're fucking me, and you won't be for long if you don't stop being Batman. So
That's what I was hoping he said, but like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
no. So we also are privy to this organization that Batman had been dealing with prior to this story arc called the Black Glove, and it's a criminal organization. It's the fucking Hellfire Club from X-Men, but it's for DC and it's Batman, and it's just a bunch of rich assholes who are like, wouldn't it be terrible if we, I don't know, robbed a bank or ruined someone's life? Like, it's just, we're born and rich, and so let's ruin people's lives.
Well, we're doing all the good things we can. Let's start doing bad.
Yeah, and you're like, what? That's fucking dumb. And it is dumb, and it continues to be dumb throughout the story. So the Black Glove is like, let's place a bet, shall we? I bet I can destroy Batman! And the leader of the organization of the Black Glove is...
Slaps that person who said that.
No, he's that
That's
guy.
dumb.
He's the one who makes that plan. And he's a douche named, like, Mangrove something. And he, he dresses like they're all in, like, costume, like they're at a masquerade ball. And he dresses in a costume that's reminiscent of a Batman costume. And if you're an old school Batman fan, and by old school I mean like 1955,
Oh, wow.
then you remember the issue, because I do, because I have those issues, where there's a book in which Batman finds this like old school, like crazy ornate Batman costume, and it would belong to his father's. And the idea was that like Thomas Wayne was Batman once. And that was like the hook. You're like, what? And it turns out he wore it to a masquerade ball. Like he was a Batman. And but the guy who's in charge of the Black Glove is wearing it.
That's ridiculous.
Also featured in this is the Joker, who is kind of like the Black Glove's lackey, who does annoying things. I hate Grant Morrison's Joker because
He's a lackey?
no, because no. Here's the thing: like the Black Glove thinks that Joker's a lackey because they underestimate him. So like that's fine. That works for Joker.
And he's happy to like perform chaos because like, hey, if you want to pay me to do this shit, fine.
It's more like he's happy to let them think that he's happy to do that.
All right.
He's like, I got other shit. I got other plans, but you know what? You go right ahead and think that I'm on your team. And you, of course, are reading this. It's funny because like reading it, you're like, I think I know exactly where this is going. Which is weird because Grant Morrison is like, oh, you think you do, but then zag. But in this, it goes exactly where you think it is until it goes completely off the fucking tracks.
It doesn't zag, it breaks.
Yeah, someone just throws a switch. Here's what the bulk of the story is.
I'm seeing, like, they attack the Batcave.
Yeah, the Black Glove is like, okay, like, game on.
But how do they find out who he is?
And where the Batcave is.
Well, that's a good question. But the Black Glove is capable of anything. And that's like a thing... Well, there's a guy who's doctor whatever.
I'm not going to say
idiot.
it.
There's
I'm
some
pretty sure I'm right. But
yeah, of course you are. But like, there's some troll who works for the Black Glove who's like, I murdered a man in your steps just before I came in here. What are you going to do about it? And they're like, well, we've already drafted the suicide note, and he's been proven to be some lunatic, and blah blah blah. We killed his family, and so what's next? Like they've proven they can get anywhere and do anything at any time. They're super villains,
right?
In as much as they have convenience and time on their side.
And money.
And resources.
Like,
yes.
it's just invulnerability because, like, I can buy anyone.
Well, and, like, there's no way they were able to do those things, but that's the superpower they have. Right. They can perform impossible feats because they're so fucking rich.
Right.
It's almost like just imagine, like, being, like, a regular person and seeing what a billionaire is capable of and assuming they have magic powers. Right. Because you have no idea how it is to be that rich or have that much resource. So, their plan is let's destroy Batman, and Jezebel...
Why don't they just fucking kill him?
Well, because that would be too easy.
They said destroy.
They're going to destroy Batman. They're not going to kill Batman.
They have to break him down.
Despite the fact the book is called Batman R.I.P., they're not going to kill Batman.
They're not even interested in that.
No. Well, they're going to ruin him, and then maybe they'll kill him later.
Right.
So they employ the Joker, actually, to help. So Batman is being badgered by Jezebel Jet in the Batcave, and then the word, or not real word, Zur-En-Arr appears on the monitor. And it makes Batman, like, go fucking, like,
ballistic?
catatonic.
What? They planted
trigger words all across Gotham for Batman to see. And the trigger word is Zur-En-Arr. That's, like, the trigger word that makes Batman, like, catatonic.
Oh.
So...
That's weird.
Yeah, so then, once it triggers him, the Black Glove, shows up in the Batcave, destroys the Batcave. She kicks the shit out of Alfred.
Oh.
And
What happens to Jezebel?
they capture her.
Oh.
And they bring her with them to the Black Glove's nefarious lair.
Right.
Of course they do.
And then we see this like ridiculous journal that Batman keeps, and the journal is like the writings of a madman.
Yeah, no shit.
Because, okay, and we're just gonna spoil the shit out of this. I mean, obviously we are, but like I'm gonna jump ahead a lot. Batman wanted to understand what it was like to be the Joker, to be able to anticipate him.
Okay.
Like, how can one anticipate a madman? I must go insane in order to do that. But I don't want to go insane because then I'll never come back.
Right.
So he takes drugs, hallucinogens, and also other, like, psychotropic drugs that make him see shit. Like, and go fucking crazy. And he keeps a journal of his rambling madness.
Okay.
That journal is the chronicles of all those ridiculously crazy stories from 1940 to 1960 in Batman comics. So when Batman, like, went to a crazy planet and fought, like, monsters, or when Batman married Batwoman and had children, and, like, Batman 2 and Robin 2, and
It was all a giant trip.
It was all
all
an acid
in his head.
trip
Yeah.
that Batman took to understand the Joker. Which is...
That's a really funny way to retcon all of Batman's shitty history.
Because Grant Morrison wants to say...
Well, not shitty, but like...
Well, yeah. Well, it's
weird.
No, it's fucking weird. So,
Out of
but
place.
Grant Morrison wants to basically legitimize every story that has ever been written about Batman and say that it's all part of one continuity.
Right.
From
No
one
matter
man's
how
life.
batshit
Yeah,
insane.
it's
So,
all
like-
part of Grant Morrison's continuity.
Well, yeah. Well, because the Grant Morrison's approach is like, well, Batman's this guy who's had a crazy life, right? So he loses his parents, he goes through his training, and then he becomes the Batman. And he's this swinging bachelor, and he's all by himself, and he's this dark and brooding guy. And then later, he's tired of that, and he wants to sow his oats, and he's like, he's hip and fun, and he's got a little friend named Robin, and they go off and they have little adventures, right? And then, after that... The kid goes off and he grows up and then he's sad, but he's also a bachelor again. So we've got the 70s where he's more like sexual, he's got hair on his chest and he's fighting Ra's al Ghul and he's banging Talia. And then in the 80s it gets weird and dark again and Robin dies and like it just, and so everything is just a stage in Batman's life.
Right.
Every era of Batman is, every decade of Batman is like one weird year for Batman. And so Batman's like 35 and now it's and the chickens have come home to roost as far as
Right.
his ridiculous lifestyle's gone.
Okay.
So
Is the idea here then that the phrase like unlocks when he would him from when he was crazy? From being
Yes.
the Joker?
Well, okay, because
So he goes crazy again, basically.
yes, but okay. So here's where
Joker crazy.
he goes Joker crazy, but Batman Joker crazy.
So instead of murdering people, he still tries to save people, right?
Well-
but he just does it crazy.
Here's the thing. What the Black Glove did, and over a period of however long the Black Glove has been fucking with Batman's head, is they created something that will make him lose his mind. But Batman created a backup drive for his mind.
What?
No.
Literally a backup
That's
drive?
not
No,
how that
a
works.
portion
No,
of his
he
brain.
apportioned a part of his brain.
He trained himself mentally.
Yes, to
In
have.
case his brain ever got
Oh,
taken
thank
over.
God. I
Yes.
thought he had like a little hard drive.
No.
or something.
He trained his brain to become a little hard drive that has like a failsafe if ever the Bruce Wayne persona was under attack.
Oh.
And so it's basically Batman if there were no Bruce Wayne. So all he has is this one like drive of I am Batman and Batman must protect Gotham.
Okay.
And so he's this like lunatic who's just like I am Batman and he's tripping out because his brain is like revisiting these acid flashbacks.
Right.
And then he and by the way, he does this when he's Bruce Wayne. Like when he wakes up, he's in garbage and he's dressed as like a regular person. After the Black Glove had kicked the shit
Well,
out
they
of
just
him.
threw him in the trash.
They threw him in the trash, and he meets this bum, and the bum is like taking him on like a sightseeing tour of Gotham, where it's like getting him back to his roots, and then he runs into another bum, and he introduces the bums, and the bum that he meets just now is like, who are you talking about? Like, there's nobody there. Like, the guy who you're talking about died a couple days ago because he got, like, a bunch of cash from some guy, and he took a bad trip and died. And it's like, Batman had given some bum like $200, and that
Oh.
bum to use that $200 to like get high, and it killed him.
Ah.
And so that bum was a hallucination of Batman's grief over being responsible for killing that bum by accident.
Okay.
And that bum's hallucination
Jesus
like took him
Christ.
on like a tour of Gotham to like remind him like what he's trying to save and like being in the garbage and
Okay.
you know, almost like the Frank Miller like, and you eat rats to become Batman. He didn't do that in this continuity, but it's like, you know, bringing him down to like the dirt of Gotham.
Right.
And so then he's like, "Oh, I'm Batman again!" And he's like, and so he grabs all this random garbage and makes a bat costume, and he becomes the Batman of Zur-En-Ah. And the Batman of Zur-En-Ah is actually
garbage.
a throwback to the 50s, to those old Batman stories where like there's an alien Batman that wore this ridiculous costume.
Nice.
And he makes a utility belt out of like garbage and electronics he finds, and he gets like an old like shitty radio, and he's like, "My bat radio will help me figure out what's going on here." And he's like, "Oh, I'm getting a transmission from Robin."
Oh my god.
And there's also another character that they established in the 50s. Like, you remember Mixie's Plitnell whatever, the little
Yes.
imp guy that's voiced by Gilbert Gottfried from the cartoon of Superman?
Yeah.
Batman has one too from back then called Batmite. And Batmite shows up, and he's like, "Let's go, Batman!" And it's a fucking hallucination, and it's like Batman's.
That's awesome.
It's Batman's like tether to humanity, and he's like, "Don't kill that guy, Batman! Like, you're not that guy." So
Holy crap!
Batman picks up this baseball bat he finds, and then he just starts going to town on
He's the
Gotham.
Batman.
Exactly. And he basically he just is auto running this Batman of Zur-En-Ah while the Bruce Wayne personality reboots.
Okay.
Well, it recovers from its last save
That's what
point.
its system restored.
Exactly what it's doing. Not even an exaggeration. So Batman just beats the living shit out of different Black Glove members until he finds out where.
So he's cogent enough to find the people who are actually responsible for the
Yeah,
condition.
he's not just beating like, "Oh, you know, Elizabeth, this will be a fun little time. I'm Batman. I have to save you." Because he's supposed to be a hero. You have to like him.
Right, right.
So so Batman and Zur-En-Ah figures out like where the Black Glove is and all that shit. So he goes and he.
Is he actually even more effective at finding Black Glove?
I mean, like,
since he's now unhinged?
I mean, no.
Since he's like the purest Batman?
Well, he's not distracted by any Bruce Wayne
Right.
chicanery, so maybe he
Like
actually
Jezebel?
does. Actually, he does because like he sees the city as like a grid. He's like, the city isn't a city system of streets and people; it's a grid with like, and I just need to know how. And he fucking goes to the, you know, and so he's like, he actually can navigate the city easier and faster, and so he's, you know, all over the place. I think that actually you just pulled up a moment where like he digs out a tooth. I think that's how they were like getting to him or something.
I thought it was him being crazy, but apparently he actually did have a tracker in his tooth.
Yeah, he
Oh.
did.
And then I thought he threw a pigeon at his attackers.
Yeah, no, it's just
Little did he know,
Okay.
he just tied a string to it with the
Yeah.
tooth.
How did they get a tracker
into his mouth.
Into his mouth.
Well, he's unconscious at certain times.
Yeah, well, sometimes he's asleep, but like, you know, the Black Glove can do anything.
But they presumably, I assuming they used the tracker to track him to the Wayne Mansion.
Yes, but they
So
also
they
used
must
it
have
to track him, like, because they're watching him.
Right, but they must have gotten it into him when he was Batman. I mean,
Right.
in order for them to discover his identity that way. So
Yes.
at some point, they were able to
Maybe.
Like, subdue Batman and then
put a tracker.
Put a tracker.
in
Maybe.
without him noticing. I mean, I suppose there could have been any number of stories where he was unconscious at some point.
Oh, yeah. The Black Glove is, you know, we're gonna defeat Batman! It's only a matter of time. Look at him! He's covered in garbage! He's going crazy with a baseball bat.
Now, that said, the suit he makes out of garbage is incredibly impressive.
Oh, yeah,
it's
well, he's
fucking
still
cool.
Batman.
Like, you could not make that out of garbage.
No.
No, you could not.
No.
But Batman can.
Yes, but
He's
Batman
the best at what he
can.
does.
Yes.
It's
I know that's Wolverine,
It is.
but like,
Well, you know what? So is Dark Claw, the amalgamation of Wolverine and Batman.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Batman could have been anything: a concert pianist, a safewrecker,
Yes.
a tailor.
Wolverine. So Batman knocks the shit out of everybody, and he shows up at the Black Glove's, you know, manor.
Yeah.
And the Joker's there, and he's like, "Look at you! You're as crazy as I am. This is great.
Let's hang out."
Yeah, and
What are you doing
Batman is
later?
like, "Joker, I want to know who you were." And Joker's like, "I know. Like, I figured out. Like, apparently you took a bunch of psychotropic drugs to know who I was. I'm flattered. Like, that's lovely."
You want to get some wings?
Yeah, exactly. We're birds of a feather right now. There's a moment, by the way, you might have seen Joker. He looks like fucking Jared Leto in those "I want a skull and a damaged across my head." Like, he looks like that in this story because he's like all jacked and like thin and shit. I hate that version of the Joker. I just think he looks like a goddamn idiot. I mean, like, he looks like a clown. That's what he looks like. You know, he looks like a fucking weirdo. But he has this stupid bullet wound in his head. This cop went nuts and he's like, "Fuck Joker," and he just shoots the Joker in the head.
Oh,
but it doesn't
shit.
kill him. It severs it fucks up his nerves.
He doesn't feel pain anymore.
He doesn't feel pain, and he has a permanent smile, so he can never not smile.
Oh.
Which
Did
he
you get
never
shot
did
with what,
anyway.
A pellet gun?
It was a bullet, but like,
No, you could get shot in the head and survive.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get shot in the head and survive.
Yeah.
But if you get shot in the head and survive, especially in the front cortex, like, you're not going to function.
Well, you might be like that guy, Phineas Gage, who lost a huge portion of his brain and then became like more angry and pissed off and stuff. But the Joker's already fucked up.
Yeah,
so,
so let's make
it
him.
would have done it, but you wouldn't notice.
But that was
because his brain's already a mess.
the fact is, like, all they wanted to do was revamp the Joker. They're like, "We ran out of Joker stores when we
Right.
And they're like, maybe we should like have him get shot and he can't stop smiling.
So he's like what they did to the Joker in.
Yeah, in the movie, in Batman
1989,
'89.
yeah.
Because you got that permanent. Like, it's like
which
that.
they just made up for that movie, and now
Yes, they did.
it's.
And now it's here.
Now it's
I mean, they fixed
canon.
it after that. No, after that, like, it was like that actually until pretty much New 52, and then he
Right.
cut off his. And then he had Dollmaker cut his face off.
Yeah.
And then he grew it back. So Joker has Jezebel Jet tied up to a chair, and he's going to release Joker toxin, and Batman
Right.
breaks in, and she fucking dies.
What?
Yeah, she dies from the Joker toxin, and Batman's like, and he's like, "Oh, you were too late to save her," and
Damn.
so they take her body away, and
I knew she
Batman,
was gonna die.
yeah, of course. So like, he's just like, "I failed," and by the way, like, he takes his mask off in front of Joker. Joker's like, no point does Joker go like, "Oh, it's Bruce Wayne." He's just like, "I don't fucking care about that like at all."
Well, I don't even know who Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
watch
not really
TV.
that into.
Yeah, but well,
I've
then
heard
you-
of him, but
yeah,
like,
exactly. I've heard of him, but I never actually seen his face. I don't really read. So then, right after she dies, she then gets back up and she's like, "I was part of the Black Club."
I fucking knew it. That was what I called before.
Of course you did. If you read or you watch anything, you know that Jezebel Jet,
Yeah.
from the first fucking thing, when you hear that, "Oh, Jezebel, you mean a famous, untrustworthy woman?"
Well, not only that, but like, all right, so there's this group of people called the Black Hand who are
Glove.
the richest people. The Black Glove. That are the richest people in the world.
Yeah, and
Of course-
she's also super rich and
She shows up at the same
conveniently,
time as
and
Black Glove.
they also know who he is, and they have
Yeah.
access to him when he's sleeping.
I'm like, of course it's her.
Yeah, of course it's her. So the Black Glove is like, well, Batman just kicked the shit out of, like, Batman freaked out, and, by the way, the Joker toxin they use is, like, a little different, so, like, Batman's not prepared for it, so it knocks him out or whatever. And then the Black Glove...
But it does nothing to Jezebel.
No, because she's, like,
she already
inoculated.
has the antidote. or
Yeah, because Joker created it, so Joker gave it to them. And so the Black Glove buries Batman alive in a shallow grave. And the Black Glove is like, "That's it? You're going to bury him alive? That's bullshit." He's like, "No! That's just part 8 of my ridiculously circuitous scheme." The plan is they're going to bring him up after he's been depleted from oxygen a whole bunch, so he's, like, brain damaged.
Oh.
And they're going to, like, unveil him and be like, "Look at our drooling idiot Batman that we destroyed."
Why
Mwahaha."
would they bury him to do that?
So
Why
that
not
he
just-
can escape.
Oh.
So that's actually it actually reveals the coolest looking image from the book for me.
Oh.
So I'll get to that image in a second. But like Batman, while he's under there, he finally like snaps out of it.
Okay.
He reboots, and now he's both Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
And
Oh, thank God. He
And-
updated finally.
yeah, finally
Windows update.
exactly.
That's-
So after that, he has like a vision of the flashback that'll explain to you like the drugs that he took and the monk that he got it from and why he wanted to do it in the first place and blah blah blah.
Right.
Robin has an adventure in this too, but who cares? So Batman fucking has that vision and he's like, "I'm not gonna die because I'm goddamn Batman." And in fact, the first image from Batman R.I.P. is Batman and Robin, and he yells, "Batman and Robin will never die!"
Oh.
as if to tell you in the beginning of this book, like, I know you're reading Batman RP,
But he's not gonna die.
but he's not going to die.
Right.
He actually says, "You're wrong!
Right.
Like, you, the reader, are wrong.
Right.
You, Grant Morrison, are wrong.
For talking to me. Stop talking to me!"
Yeah, no, that's weird, Grant Morrison. Every
Yeah.
time you do it, it's weird. Stop.
Yep. So then he digs his way out, and here's him, like...
And, he just gets out
He just
because
gets
he
out.
wants to.
He's fucking
Because he
Batman.
really wants to a lot. He was in a straitjacket, by the way.
Hey, no, he's escaped shit like
He
that
can
before.
escape-
That's
Him
easy
escaping
shit
a
for Batman.
straitjacket in, like, a 2-foot space,
But why would they think then that could hold him?
because they're arrogant douche nozzles.
That's dumb.
I know.
There should be something more.
So keep
to
going.
it.
So then he
use a
frees
tool
himself,
or
and that's
something.
the image of him, like, freed, where he's like...
Not
Yeah,
wearing his
it's
old
like-
costume?
No, they put him in his old
They put it
costume.
in, yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like,
the trash costume.
I'm gonna
No.
fuck some shit
Huh.
up right now.
Yeah.
I guess that's cool.
Yeah, they put him in his old costume because they're like, no, when he comes out, he can't look like a fucking clown. He has to look like Batman. And because they're the Black Glove, they can get anything, so they get him, like, his full suit with his real utility belt and shit.
I mean, they know where the Batcave is, yeah.
yeah. So they put him in his real costume and whatever.
This
So
is a great line from, I guess, the journal that he wrote after this.
Or it's the journal of his mind, like you're reading it. Whenever Batman has an internal monologue, they usually depict it through like a written journal, and it's always in the present tense. So you're always assuming like it's actually a holdover from Frank Miller, the year one. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he says, bench pressing a pine coffin lid through 600 pounds of loose soil that's still in my mouth, crushing my lungs flat, and shredding my dehydrated muscles. That's harder. And then he busts free and says, but far from impossible.
Yep.
Like,
And you're
he's
like-
just so trained.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's
That's how
fucking
he gets
Batman
out. Yeah. That's it.
because he's Batman.
Yep. Cool,
That's it.
I'll take it.
Right? Like, well, that's the whole book. The whole book is because he's Batman.
Right.
So then he defeats the Black Glove, and Jezebel's like, oh shit! Oh, by the way, when Batman is in the coffin, Joker's like, so Batman's gonna get out, and he's gonna kick the crap out of all of you. Like,
That's awesome.
and
fucking
he,
awesome.
because they're all placing their bets about Batman, like when he's gonna fucking break and when he's gonna go, mindless and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Joker's like, well, I'm gonna put all my money on Batman freeing from the coffin and kicking the shit out of all of you and figuring out who you really are, because that's what Batman does. And I just wanted to talk to him while he was crazy, and so now I'm gonna go. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and the leader of the Black Glove is like,
Why don't we get out of here before he beats me up?
yeah, I'm gonna go. But you guys enjoy being arrogant douches. And
And you're not going to try and escape and take my advice because you're arrogant douches.
exactly, you're not even gonna leave. And some of the members of the Black, the Joker seems to be making some interesting play. Maybe we should hum for humph. And Jezebel's like, peace. So she fucking ditches. And
Wow.
and so then the Black Glove
Oh,
escapes, and Dr. Hurt is is the bad guy who's the leader of the Black Glove, is dressed like Thomas Wayne from that one issue from fucking 100 years ago, and he reveals like, I am actually your dad. And there's actually a subplot that I didn't even get to that didn't really matter, where
What?
the Black Glove released a whole bunch of true documents of the fact that Thomas Wayne arranged to have his family killed. That Joe Chill, the murderer of Thomas and Martha Wayne, was actually a hired gun by Thomas Wayne. And Thomas Wayne just wanted Martha out of the way and Bruce to be killed, and he faked his own death, and then he's been running the Black Glove ever since, and he's been waiting to get revenge on his son.
No!
Which, of course, Batman is like,
terrible!
Batman's like, no. But the police are like, and Alfred Pennyworth is a fucking consort, like he's helping out. He's been like feeding Thomas Wayne information the whole time. And the Gordon is like, that's weird. That's not. And some of the I think the mayor is like, oh, but it's all right here in black and white. And so they launch a whole thing where they're
Well,
trying
of
to
course,
arrest
it's like-
Bruce Wayne or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably like fake real documents.
Yeah, it's fake real
We're-
documents.
Look, they're not actual. This isn't the truth, but we can make it the truth by providing these documents.
That's
that
right.
we're rich and can pay for.
Yeah,
Exactly.
By using our superpower of being really rich.
Of convenience, yeah. So then he's like, but I'm actually Thomas Wayne. He's like, no, you're not. And you're not Dr. Hurt. You're actually Mangrove, whatever the hell your name is. And you're an actor who worked with my dad. And that's how you know anything about my family. And fuck you, and I'm Batman, and I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And so Mangrove gets onto the...
Everyone's like, fuck.
Yeah, and he just gets onto his helicopter. And he said, there's a line, and it's funny because, like, I didn't notice this until way later, but go ahead. What's
Well, he says, "No, I skinned Mangrove Pierce alive and wore him to Mayhew's party." I guess is where Batman saw him.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
It's a crazy thing to say, and it's not even...
It's not even true.
No, it's fucking... It's just the ramblings of an asshole.
Maybe he's hoping he's crazy again.
Yeah. So Batman's like, no. So Batman kicks the shit out of him, and he says, there's a moment where Mangrove or Dr. Hurt or whoever is in the helicopter, and Batman is like gonna get through, and the last line of his is, "The black glove always wins." And then Batman's black glove blasts through the windshield and punches him in the face. And the helicopter goes down, and Mangrove dies, presumably, and Jezebel is on a jet, going back to Africa, and that's the epilogue, is her being like, well, good thing I used my diplomatic immunity to escape custody in Gotham. And,
yeah, well, I have a feeling it's going to get revoked.
yeah, actually Talia revokes it by sending an army of man-bats to bring down her plane.
What? An army of man-bats?
Yeah, Talia makes man-bats and Damien clones.
And that's what happens at the last, fucking 20 pages of this book.
No, the last 20 pages is just a weird...
Because there's a lot of book left.
Yeah, that book is actually just all hallucinations from Batman being strapped to a machine that Darkseid and his minions have Batman in. That is all part of Final Crisis, and we can read that later in another episode of Back Issues where we talk about Final Crisis, which is not coming right now because I don't own that fucking book.
That's a weird thing to end this book with.
Well, it's because it's a good, bridge,
Yeah.
too, because, after this, Batman's like, shit, that was a crazy adventure, but I don't have time to deal with that right now because Orion was killed in an alley, and he's a new god, and I gotta solve this mystery. And then Darkseid and his minions capture him and put him in, a dream machine, and then clone him, because Darkseid thinks that having an army of cloned Batman who will, be master strategists and shit will be a good tool for him, but none of them can be Batman, because they don't have the mind of Batman, and apparently if you try to be Batman and you're just not Batman, you'll go crazy and die, because apparently it's just really hard.
Oh.
Knowing everything and being able to do anything is really hard for the average person.
Right.
Batman's superpower is that he's Batman. And only he can be Batman.
Right. That he's the only one who can do it.
Yeah. There you go, guys. Batman R.I.P. You requested it, you sent it, and we did it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I know that we skipped over a bunch of stuff, but you know what?
We also covered a lot.
We did. You know what?
There's a lot of shit in here.
This ain't Comics Explained, ladies and gentlemen. We just make fun of the book.
Or sometimes praise it.
We do sometimes praise it.
It seems like it's a good book.
It is
fun.
It is fun. You know what? And the art is toppers. It's so cool looking that any ridiculousness, you're like, that's cool. I hate Joker, his design. I like the use of him, but his design it's so disappointing. Because Joker's actually behaves the way I'd expect Joker to be.
Okay.
He actually does you know what I mean? Where Joker is all, like Batman, Joker's always a few steps ahead of his adversaries.
Right. Yeah, it's like Batman and the Joker know what's going on, and everyone else just thinks they do.
Exactly. Yeah. I would actually like to see a Joker versus Riddler story. Not just them, maybe Batman in there too, but...
there must have been one.
Oh, yeah, but they're probably stupid. There's a... You know what? In Nightfall, Joker and Scarecrow team up.
Oh.
And Joker annoys Scarecrow, and Scarecrow sprays him with the fear toxin. Oh, we talked about this in Nightfall.
I feel like we did.
Yeah, and it doesn't work, because he's like, I am fear. And Scarecrow's like, fuck.
That's pretty fucked up.
And I'm Scarecrow. So thank you guys so much for watching, everybody. We will see you guys next week with an all-new Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And hey, if you want to get a cool t-shirt like this, or this... Oh, that's just Jurassic Park. No, just this.
Like that.
Yeah.
You can go to our TeePublic store, tpublic.com/stores/ComicPop. We just released a brand new shirt for you guys, members of the population. We got the ComicPop shirt.
Oh, nice.
So you can pick that up. Also, 2 other original designs by our in-house designer, Tiffany, who you'll see on every other show that we do. So, see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Bye. That's a cool shirt.
That one?
No, yours.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I have to point out that as his helicopter was going down, Mangrove or whatever says, "No,
not like this!" He does! I totally forgot about that! Who the hell says that?
As you're dying, I really hope I don't say that when I die.
You know that if it's ridiculous, you're gonna be
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm thinking
gonna
it.
stop.
Two
That's just as
people
bad.
have said it so far.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm issuing a challenge to the population. List another comic book where a character dies while screaming "not like this." I'll bet there's more. There's a whole bunch of comic book tropes, like people saying, "hit them hard and fast." That's an old leader line. Cap says it, Superman says it. So classic, ridiculous thing to say that no one would ever say. So yeah, let us know. Does anybody else say "not like this" besides obviously Dr. Hurt and Hawkeye?
Yeah, I thought there was another one in a book.
I think there is.
Maybe Hawkeye said it again.
Well, he says it a
came
lot.
up like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
true. All right. Well, I don't
was it?
remember.